All right, welcome back. This is tutorial 2 of 2 for the candle holder. Previous to this, you would have watched tutorial 1 where we created this cup. And our task now is to learn how to put some piercings or holes through the cup. So, this will be our first introduction to something called work planes. There's kind of an indicator up here of planes, and then over here we had some other indicators of planes. See, we can see our original planes that we used. So work planes. Now, in order to draw on a curved surface in Inventor, well, if we had to draw on a curved surface, we'd probably find it challenging, and Inventor does too. So what it does is it incorporates a feature called planes that allow us to make 2D drawings and then turn those into a projected drawing on the surface of the curved object. So in this case, our hole on the edge of the cup is on a curved surface, and therefore we're going to have to make a plane on the side of the surface in order to draw on. You can think of planes like a sheet of paper. So how do we go about doing that? Well, the first thing you want to do is go over here and select the XY plane and just hover over it for a second. And you can see it in the drawing. It's there. Just click on it once. There we go, and it'll stay blue. It's there. It's not permanent. If I clicked on another plane, it would come up, but I'm going to go back and click on XY. And then I'm going to click the planes feature button here. And there's underneath planes, there's a whole bunch of different features, but these can get kind of confusing. But we're just going to pick the original, sort of like the top one here, this plane button. And if we go back to the XY plane and we have the plane button selected, we can suggest a place to put a plane. And that plane would be on the edge of the cup. So here it is on the other edge, or on the top. Here it is on the side. Anyway, I'm going to put it over here on the face, and I'll click there. Now I have a work plane, they call it, and you see how it showed up in our browser window over here. A work plane on the side of our cup. And I can actually rotate to the front, and you can see it. Now, you think of a plane like a piece of paper on which you can draw. The question is, how can I start drawing on that plane? Well, you move to the corner of the plane and click the corner, and you'll see the Create Sketch button. So I'm going to create a sketch on this plane or piece of paper. So I click that, and now I'm back in my 2D drawing mode. And what I want to do, and I'll put this back in the middle of the screen, what I want to do is draw on this a circle. And so we know how to make circles. We've done this before, maybe. I can't remember. Yeah, we've made circles before. So we'll click on the circle here and head back to the y-axis. It's a good place to do this. And on the y-axis, wherever you think a circle center should be, I'm going to click it. And then I'm going to extend it out, showing, and that little dialog box there is showing me the current diameter of the circle. But I'm just going to use it to sort of judge how big a circle I want. So I'm just going to say, okay, my circle about that big, 3.793 millimeters. I could probably make that a 4 millimeter circle. So I'm just going to enter a 4 and enter. And there I have it. I have a 4 millimeter circle. And that's all I need for now. On your own, once you know how to do this, you might come back and put in more circles for more features on your T-Light. But for now, we're just going to have one circle, which is going to become many circles, as you know. Okay, so I'm done. I've edited my sketch, and this is what you always have to remember. When you're in sketch mode, you have to finish your sketch, which is up here, to return back to 3D mode. Okay, so here we are back in 3D mode, and it doesn't look like it, but you can see it automatically went back to the 3D tab up here. So now I'm going to just rotate this around and show you. There it is. The problem is, in 3D mode, this work plane becomes a bit of a distraction, so I'd like to get rid of it, but I don't want to delete it. I might actually want to go back and edit it later. So what I do is I head over to the work plane in the browser window, and I select it. It says on it, if you ever wonder what work plane you're working on, it says in the upper left corner of the work plane 1. So I'm going to head over to work plane 1 here, and I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to turn the visibility of the plane off. Now the plane is still available to me, I just can't see it. I can go turn it back on if I want, but that's all I want. I just want to see the plane. So there I am back on straight up and down. I'm going to tilt this towards me so we can see it a bit. All I've got is a circle drawn on the side of the curved surface. Now I need to turn it into a hole. So to do that, we're going to use the extrude feature up here. So we're going to extrude this feature. Now, as soon as I turned it on, it's suggesting what it thinks I might want to do. This would be extruding a solid outwards from the cup. How about if I go inwards? It's extruding, I'll rotate it here so we can see it, it's extruding a solid pin inwards now. Let me move this out of the way. That's not what I want either. I do want to extrude inwards, but I don't want to extrude a solid. So I'm going to go over here and change the join feature into a cut feature. So I'm going to hit cut or click cut. There we go. Now what I've done is I've cut 10 millimeters in, which is fine. I'm just going to cut into space here. I just have to make sure this is set if I want to go all the way through more than the thickness of the wall. If I set this to a smaller thickness than the wall, like 0.25, you'd see it doesn't go all the way through anymore. Right? It's not going to go all the way through. It's going to go partially through, which you might want to do one day, but today I want to go all the way through. So I'm going to change this to something that's going to go all the way through, and then push OK. And when I'm finished, I have a hole through my cup. The last thing I need to do is make many holes around the cup, which is easier than you think. You don't have to draw them all. You don't have to make work planes for them all. All you have to do is invoke the circular feature up here, the circular pattern feature. So I'm going to click that. I get another dialog box, and I'm going to click my feature, which I have to click the object first, then I'll go back and click feature. And now when I hover over the object, I want to make sure that the only thing I click is the feature that I would like to make a pattern of. So this hole, click. Notice what it did? It turned blue. That means I've selected it. And now what I do is I revolve it around the axis. So I go click. Now which axis? Well, in this case, it's the y-axis up the center of the cup. So I head over the y-axis and I do that, and it reminds me, yeah, that's up the center of the cup. I don't want to do the z-axis. I don't want to do the revolve around the x-axis. It's the y. If I click that, you see it puts holes all the way around. How did it determine that many holes? Or actually, it isn't putting the holes. It's just putting indications as to where the holes will be. Well, it determined that I wanted 6 by default. So I don't like 6. I'm going to make it 18 holes. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. And now I'm just going to push OK. Boom. 18 holes are created. Now, circles are fine. You could do squares. You can do triangles. They might get a little more challenging. There might be some things that you might bump into along the way, but that's part of it, is do some exploring. So this is how to make piercings or holes around a circular object using pattern feature. And hopefully we get some creativity going and you start doing some things. Hey, speaking of creativity, I haven't shown you yet, but maybe you want to try putting text onto it. That's a possibility. It's a little more challenging, but give it a go. I will offer another tutorial shortly, not yet, on how to put text on the side, but that's it for this tutorial, putting holes in a circular object and spacing those holes around the object.